I'll give you some quick management updates. The costs are still up, payroll's up, 30-day notice is still in place, courts are still deferring evictions, everything's moving slowly, blah, blah, blah. But we have some good dedicated people to come in and kind of take care of that. So if they don't mind, I want to bring Jenny, Paula, where's Jaritza? And Kearsley, if they all want to come up here just for a second, I want to. So these ladies are the rubber that meets the road, right? Again, I buy these properties and it means nothing because I don't run them. They're the ones that have to run them. So Paula, you're a regional. As I was saying, in-house management affords you the ability to kind of shift, move when you need to. So what have you implemented or done here recently that's made a difference?
I have been going to all the different properties, looking how we can really vamp up marketing, outreach marketing, not just waiting for people to walk in the door, but really reach out to the communities and make the communities feel more welcome. Also, curb appeal. I've been working on that diligently with, sorry, I'm not used to talking.
That's okay.
Curb appeal is a really big deal for me as well, so I've been working really closely with the landscapers, the managers, maintenance staff to make sure that, we are appreciating our assets. Every little thing that we do matters, from picking up every piece of trash to making sure that, it from the time you drive up to all the way to the back of the property, it's beautiful. Dumpsters don't look bad and so forth. So all
basically our front door.
All those little things do matter, and it doesn't cost money to care. So
No,
that's what
what
we've been doing.
Thank you for what you're doing.
She's underrating what she does.
Yes.
Dramatically. First off, they didn't even know they were going to come up here, and they
Yep.
hate it, by the way. But Paula has been running all over town. She's been on every property continually, every property, helping cover different things, no matter what day or time. Actually, it's true for all of them. Mm-hmm. No matter what day, what time,
Weekends.
anything else. Weekends,
Holidays.
holidays. Jaritza came out here, alarm was going off at midnight. She came out here to go ahead and take care of the property on this. But Paula has been all over the property. She was promoted pretty quickly and is so dedicated. It's absolutely amazing. We absolutely
And
love
and
what
one of
she's
the things
doing.
that I decided to bring up, we were talking about how the courts are being difficult, but you guys have made some inroads with our evictions.
Yes.
And with our delinquency. Talk briefly about those.
Well, we got a lot smarter. We know what we're dealing with. The devil's definitely in the details as far as, at the courts right now. But we know what we're dealing with before we get there. And then we're also doing everything within our power to make sure that we are going above and beyond as far as qualifying, and also, since we are having a higher amount of evictions, that we are replacing them with very qualified applicants with outreach marketing and attracting that higher quality clientele and residents.
Delinquency? Talk to me about
Delinquency, we're just pounding on the doors, following up. Even from the corporate level, we're emailing and calling and texting residents that owe rent. We're holding them accountable a lot faster, just making sure that we are doing everything within our power to get every dollar that we can every day.
How many properties did you close in
Five?
March?
Zero delinquency.
Five properties
Five
with
properties, zero
delinquency.
delinquency.
You know how difficult that would be? That's next to impossible.
What, again, part of the good, the bad, and the ugly, what are your biggest challenges or biggest problems we're facing right now?
The laws with as far as the 30-day, that is a big pain because it's
What
really.
is that?
Okay, so we have to give our residents a 30-day notice to vacate before we're even allowed to file eviction, which makes them 2 months behind before we ever even are able to go get a court date. Then we have to wait 2 weeks to a month to go to court. So it is a bit of a battle, and they know how to work the system.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
being very educated as well. So it does make it a lot harder for us, but we're not giving up, and we're going to keep pushing through. So,
Okay.
And we have to do 30 days rather than 3 days. Why?
well, because that's the CARES Act. It's, you know, it's out of our hands. We
Yeah,
have
but now
no
that's
control
That's
over
on
it.
agency debt properties, right?
Correct. It's a COVID era.
Yep.
Anybody with a government overreach again is that anything with an agency debt, they said, no, you're required to give 30 days notice rather than 3 days.
And it's happening nationwide. It's not just,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
agency debt, because they can reach in there and.
Yeah. And what
grab, twist and pull,
yeah,
so to say.
what exacerbates it is then judges have some latitude, and if there's something simple as a misspelled name on an application,
Uncrossed T,
done,
undotted I.
and then you start the process
yeah.
all over again. So that's why I said it's hard for you to understand what it is to
Sounds
close a property with zero delinquency.
It's amazing, like, and a couple of our properties are doing it every single month, and we really reward our staff for that. We make a big deal about it every single month and make sure that we know that they know that we really appreciate them.
Oh, we appreciate
and
you.
And thank you very much.
All right, and what do you do?
I'll
So
just
so
sit around.
she Jenny Rosario is our, I like to call her chief operating officer, but she's really a jack of all trades. She does just about anything except for does the bathrooms, which that's my job. Jenny, you've been with us how long now?
6, 7 months.
7 months.
six-
And in 7
about 6
months, I have failed to be impressed. Every week she impresses me more and more.
Thank you.
And I only say that because it's true. You do a phenomenal job. You're a good leader. And I could go on and on about the impact you've had on the company as well as the portfolio. Give us some words of wisdom, and then I'm sure Darwin's got a question or two for you.
Well, some things I've been really working on is automation, innovation, getting those things kind of going, centralization, trying to take some of the stuff that takes most of our time on site. It's, you know, because that's what it is, wait time, right? A lot of time is wasted waiting for something, waiting for a response, waiting for a document, waiting for a signature. So it's like if we can take all of those wait times and put them in one place and centralize that, then we can maximize our time on, you know, on site and maximize the use out of all the managers. So we've kind of taken all the different positions and looked at it and analyzed it and tried to figure out, you know, what's another way that we can do this smarter and better. Because I always like to work, you know, smarter, not harder. So just rolling those things out and, you know, one property at a time, getting them online with the new things that we're rolling out to help, you know, just streamline processes.
Don't be shy and
No,
give
that's
us your
it.
history.
Well, so I've been in the industry for about 10 years. I came from one of the biggest management companies in the U.S. and came to join Darcorp. They were a management company that really looked into, and I was like, this seems like a good fit. They have great software programs. They utilize what they should be utilizing. It's just a great game plan. So I joined the team, and since then we've picked up the software. The cool thing is there's hold a couple of chairs on a couple of boards that helps with that. So we have that little pull on that when we need something on the software, helping the developers and the engineers develop that. So we're kind of first site on some of the beta testing. So that helps us, you know, get a little bit ahead of the rest of the teams out there trying to do the same thing we're doing.
She's got an incredible history on running other management companies.
Yes, that too.
And I think she was bored at those other companies and came over to us and wanted to start something small. And she wants
felt
to
sorry
help.
for us.
Yeah, she felt sorry, showed pity, but she wants to help grow the
Oh,
business,
Absolutely.
which
Absolutely.
is what she's doing, putting everything in place, all the systems in place, everything to make everything streamlined.
Absolutely.
Question: do you know off the top of your head the overall occupancy for DFW?
It was in February 86.4 was average, but I'm not real sure March.
Yeah. So overall occupancy across the board in DFW is about 84-85%.
Right.
And what are we seeing in terms of rental rate increases?
Right now, the problem is we have priced ourselves into mortgages on some of the bigger and nicer assets. And so right now there's kind of a standstill just to make sure that we're still grabbing what we can because we do not want to price, you know, out of the market. So there's not a whole lot of growth on some of the biggers, but on some of the smaller ones and the smaller units, there's still rent growth on that, and we're still grabbing some on renewals as well. So
And in our
still
business,
growing.
tenants will move on you with
Right.
$50. They're done. See you, sayonara, thank you.
But yeah.
What are you seeing on specials across the board?
They're everywhere. To be honest, you've got everybody's giving out free rent right now. You've got 1 month rent, 2 months rent, sometimes even 3s, especially on these newer builds because they did not meet their lease ups on time. So if any of you guys are in a group of that, you're probably feeling a little bit of that. A lot of the new builds and the lease ups did not make their numbers fast enough. So we're having to give out rent. So then what does that cause us to do? To have to meet that, right? So we've got some concessions going out and some specials going out, but we do see that ending here in the next 30 to 60, or at least lightening up some to close that gap on the concessions and try to get, more of that loss to lease kind of captured as well. But they're still existing right now. They're still going to be here for another, 30 to 60. But after that, we're hoping to get those to trail off.
Again, we always tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. What are our biggest struggles right now?
The market. The market is a huge struggle, and it's not just us, right? It's DFW, the whole thing. The market is a very big struggle, and it's just very challenging because everybody's feeling it right now.
Yep.
But that's the number one is the
And
market.
it doesn't help that we are delivering so many new units into the marketplace.
That's exactly
You
it.
can't
Everywhere you
drive
turn.
anywhere in the Metroplex without seeing these cranes everywhere.
Yep, there's new builds popping up, and every time there's a new build, we know that we're going to have to get ready. So one of our assets is neighboring a property that just had a new phase go up. Well, we knew when that phase was starting because we had received their marketing information. So we know when they're going to start pre-leasing. So what do? We get ahead of that. And we start, leasing with a little bit more challenging numbers so that we can capture some of what would have gone to that new phase. So we try to look ahead and try to plan out as much as possible, get our teams involved, and gather, analyze, get the analytics. You're working off numbers, you're working off statistics, and you make your decisions that way.
Yeah. Well, I could pick your brain all night long, but for the sake of time, if you don't mind, I'll
No, I
ask
appreciate
you
it.
to pass.
Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
A woman of many talents. Jaritza has been, how many years have you been with the company?
I've been with the company since 2009, so 15 years.
She has grown immensely even since I've known her. She does a variety of things. She is, like I said, one of those people that are willing to jump in and do pretty much anything. Her primary role is here at corporate, and so she does have a lot of on-site experience, although she serves us quite well here corporately. She handles, what don't you handle? But if you'll let the group know pretty much what your primary activities are on a daily basis. I know there are many. First and foremost, she's the manager for this building.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. So we turned 1 suite into 5 suites because we're having a hard time leasing over 1,000 square footage here. I think that's just pretty much everywhere because I've been noticing that like even some of the properties around here that I see they have over 20,000 square footage available or like more than 5,000. So we did this to make executive suites so people that are looking for less than 500 square feet, we can lease those units quickly, which I've already pre-leased two of them prior to them being ready.
And that's kind of a post-COVID thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so right now with the market really bad right now for their commercial, it's hard to bring in people because they're so scared of what's going to happen with the business. I hear all the time about, we don't know what's going to happen with the election. So people do not want to rent spaces right now until after election. I keep hearing that consistently. So I was able to bring a tenant in at $24 a square foot recently. And
By the way, hold on a second. $24 a foot. And what is market?
Market is anywhere well, it depends. So we're base leases here, and they're averaging between 17 to 219. And then if you do triple net leases, you're averaging between $10 a square foot to $15 a square foot. Because I looked into all of that as well to decide if I wanted to do a triple net here for the building, and I decided not to do it.
She convinced him. $24 a foot.
So
Incredible.
80+% occupancy is admirable.
And we have other we've talked to other potential investors that own office buildings, and we told them our occupancy, and he called us liars. Didn't believe it because all of his are way lower. So yeah, Jaritza's been doing spectacular. She loves learning new things and excels at them, and she's done absolutely every position of absolutely everything. So let me do an introduction real quick here.
Okay.
Because this is Kearsley Glass, okay? For those of you who know my personal story, my wife was an acquisition, okay? We tell that story, tongue in cheek. She was on a property that we bought. And that was, of course, like 30 years ago. And so we joked that it was an acquisition. Well, we bought Mustang Ridge, and the first day we had a tour out there after we closed. They had hired a couple more people, and Kearsley was one of those people that was hired on the property as a leasing agent. And we went out and did a property tour. And a lot of them are here. Yeah, a lot of them were here. Some of you remember that. And I threw her to the wolves, basically. I said, here, go do a tour. She doesn't know me, had just met me right then, doesn't know anything about what we're doing, and just said, go do it. She's like, no problem. Went and did it. She did the tour. At the end of the tour, she was being asked questions, and I was listening to her answers, and I was saying, this girl is smart. So I was really happy about that. And of course, beautiful. And some of our staff were kind of saying, hey, Garrett, you should go out with her. You should ask her out.
You're making me cry.
He's a bit of a wimp. So he had to be pushed into asking her out. And so he asked her out, and they've been hitting it off. Completely separate from that relationship, she showed extreme talent. And so she got moved up to assistant manager, which is doing all the paperwork and everything else. She was really good at closing people and collecting. She's gotten, she's one of the properties, Mustang Ridge, that closed out at zero delinquency and collected $510,000. Okay. So, while it's been a fast road, Garrett and her are now engaged. He proposed up on the top of a mountain in Steamboat Springs in the snow. So that was a lot of fun, and we got to be there and watch and participate, along with her 7-year-old daughter. She's 7 now?
7 in June, by your birthday.
7 in June. So he proposed to her, and then he also gave Kaisley is her name, a necklace also to include her in the whole thing. So he's a very sweet guy, even though he's got really long hair. And so now, as the newest part of this, again, I'm talking mostly for her, is we just closed Vitae. And so she is moving up to Vitae as the manager at Vitae. So this is a family asset now. Basically, she's running that. We've got Garrett cross-training and going out there and learning maintenance and such on the property. And then my wife, Kelly, will be doing most of the supervision of the management of that property, with the exception of the back office stuff, which she doesn't have a clue about technology about. So all of that intro, what can you add? You're going to add something. You have to add something.
Of course. I'll speak for myself for just a second. I've been in the business for 8 years, and my heart and soul is in property management. I happened to stumble across it whenever I was pregnant, and it changed my life in more ways than one. I found an awesome family and a bunch of women that I really admire, and you too, Julian. No. I admire everyone on our team, and I'm super excited to grow, especially with all of y'all. You've kind of watched the path, you know, subconsciously, whether you knew it or not. I've grown professionally and personally with Darwin Management and DGRE itself. Mustang Ridge has been a whirlwind, but I'm very proud of it, and everyone standing on this stage has worked super hard for it. So there's a lot that goes into it that some people can't even comprehend, but our hearts and souls are definitely in it, and I wanted to add that because it's definitely a family business. When it comes to grounds, residents, Paula had touched on, you know, it starts with the boots on the ground. And that's kind of what I am, especially having a heart with the family and all these women. You know, I'm there, and my heart pours into all the residents, our employees, that kind of stuff, because it starts and it's all like a working, you know, piece of a clock. All those pieces work together, and if one thing's messed up, yeah, it's a machine. If one thing goes wrong, it all goes downhill, and that affects you guys too. And you know, whether I do rent growth and I'm pushing my increases 5 or 7%, all right, well, you're not going any lower than 3 or 4. I'm sorry. Like, I take pride in rent growth, despite our concessions. It all just kind of goes together. That's something that I'm a nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff. I really take pride in it, and I have a passion for it and a purpose. So I really enjoy getting to grow with everybody here, and I look forward to learning even more as I continue to grow with the company.
Well, these are the girls that run everything.
Ladies,
and of course, we've
ladies.
got a lot of other managers. So not
Yes,
to, not
I'm
to
just
put them
happen to
down.
be here as well. So
She
it's
just
really-
happened to be
yeah.
here tonight, and I wanted to introduce her because we're proud that she's joining the family.
Yes, and
And-
we just got Vitae like last week, so I'm super excited. Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's college housing, exactly.
My brother's 19, yes, and we actually, Mustang Ridge is right across from the college. Of course, it's a mixed demographic, but I am, very well versed with the younger guys. I want to be able to teach them, proper rental history because it starts, when they're younger. So if they have someone that cares about them, they're going to know they need to give a 60-day notice. If not, they're getting a reletting fee. If you don't pay that, that goes on your credit. You're probably not going to get another rental. So if you have someone that cares about the residents too, that goes leaps and bounds. And of course, word of mouth is the best advertisement. So if they are happy, they're going to renew. If we renew, our occupancy is going to, keep trending. So it all works together, like I said. And I see those moving parts, and I'm continuing to learn every day. So it's really fun for me.
So give an applause for them to thank you
Thank
for
you,
them for
ladies.
everything they're doing.
Thank you. So this is the slide that Darwin referred to. I had thrown this in, I was going to talk about it. Although, you see how I screwed it up? So you can blame me for that. I'm not as smart as these guys are. This is something we talked about last month related to student housing because Vitae is student housing. Our first 100% student housing play, which as far as a corporate resume, once we're in this deal, that'll check that box. And when we go to buy another one, I won't say when, not if, that box will be checked. It's a lot easier to get good favorable agency debt on student housing. Excuse me. So 1019, who's in 1019? All right, well, congratulations, guys. The cycle has gone full turn. We acquired this property in October of 2018, and I'll talk, I may have put this slide in the wrong order, but I'll see as my next one, but I'll definitely go into great detail on it. So one of the reasons we ended up selling, Darwin mentioned that there was nothing wrong with the asset. There is nothing wrong with that particular asset. It's done very well, and every month we have hit better numbers. So, I mean, that's incredible. But the headwinds that we saw were this. One, the marketplace is rather small. If you've ever been to Fredericksburg, it's not a very big town. There's a lot of Airbnb, a lot of tourists involved, and therefore it's not a thriving metropolitan area. Well, there are a host of properties that are on the books to be developed, and some already being delivered, and all that's going to do is put downward pressure on the rental rates and on occupancy. So we thought, hey, 5+ years, we've blown through our pro forma. Yes, if we had sold it 21 months, I mean in 2021, we would have been able to sell it for more, but hey, a great win is still a great win. So congratulations to you guys. I'm going to go through some more numbers. Let's see. Yeah, so I did put it in a different order, but that's okay. I can, but Yaritza, if you'll come back up here if you don't mind. Yeah, I'm not going to have you talk. I'm not, but please. To get this property ready for sale required a lot of corporate attention. I won't go into any great detail. Yaritza is corporate, and I mean, here in this building primarily, yet she has been willing to go to Fredericksburg on a continual basis to make sure that that property there was not going to be any problem in selling the property, so that the buyer would have no reason to step back off of that decision and consummate the sale. So I give her a tremendous amount of credit for that, as well as her supervision of our property manager there, because Sonia really, who did she really answer to? You know, because she's remote down there. Who was her regional?
I was her
Yeah, right.
She was her regional, because she saw there was a need for it.
Yeah.
And she volunteered, hey, I'll go down there, I'm gonna take care of it, I'm gonna own it.
Yeah. So when you guys get those big fat checks, send her like 50 cents or something like that. Yeah. No, but seriously, thank you for all the hard work you put into it. I just thought you need to be recognized in front of the group.
Yeah.
You can, hey, what happened to my,
Go back one.
so we bought the property 2018, October. We contracted in like August, I believe it was, closed it in October. And closed it in October. An acquisition price. This was a weird property, and we'll go through it very quickly because the time is okay. Paid 9.8 for it. We had a rehab budget of 1.5. Now a lot of this stuff, so you can correct me. This is from my recollection because it's almost 6 years ago. Closing costs another. That was easy. We were at 660. So an all-in of 11.9 million on the deal. But there was some owner financing on that deal, wasn't there? The seller carried some kind of note. You're old too. Get away from me. All right.
I don't remember.
Yeah, there was a bit of seller finance. It was very short. It was a mess. Remember, it was a husband and wife ran the place, and they had.
Yeah.
You remember now the
I think the
financials were a mess.
Okay, they basically gave us a very short-term bridge.
Yes.
So that we can then refinance out, which Paul did the loan on also. And was it 4.11 or I thought it was 3.11?
I don't know. Paul probably doesn't remember. He's old too. We're all old.
Who
We're all
knows?
old. Anyway,
the loan on this property, I think it was 3.
No, it was 4%.
Sounds right? 3.05?
Yeah.
The refinancing went down from the original price, original interest.
Yeah.
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 But it
Yeah.
was
So
assumed the loan.
there were so many moving parts to this deal that it would put you to sleep if I try to explain everything. So high level numbers. Total out of pocket 5.1 million, which was for 6 years ago was a pretty decent amount. All right. So the property was. This is how it was operating when we took it over. Their operating income was roughly $1,000 a door. Their other income was only $61,000, and for a net of 1.3. Their expenses were $62 a door, and their net operating income was $826. For 132 units, that was terrible. This is where we were at sale. So we go from 1.3 to 1.5. Other income, $61,000 to $470,000. That is a bunch of meat to put on that bone. That was huge, huge. So our total income went to $2 million, up from 1.3. Massive. Now you see where the deal starts to shape. Our expenses went up. Part of it was insurance. Part of it was taxes. And then part of it is just better operations. Lower expenses does not necessarily translate into better expenses. What I mean by that is you can have a lower expense per door property that's not being taken care of. So sometimes you need to up your expenses per door so that the deal is, the property's being well taken care of. So went to 7,000, and our net operating income went to 1.1 from 826. So that's where we were when we sold the place. And so this is the sale. We sold it for 18.5. This is what's important, okay? Oh, I know. Yeah, this is paying off of the existing loan, and then our closing cost, and this is what we've netted. Sounds great, but here's where it really turns into a deal. So here's the payoff. For a sample investment of $100,000, right? And for those of you who are here, I know there's some of you who were at $100,000 and some at much more. But we did a refi distribution in 2020. Yeah, it was 2020 of 27%. So I chose the 100,000 level because if you put 100,000 in, this is what you got at the refi. We did a post-COVID distribution in 21. You guys remember those checks? You probably, because we don't typically do that second bulk distribution. Alex probably said, hey, where'd this money come from, right? Right? And cash flow distributions of approximately 4.7 along the way. So we had initial sale proceeds of $150,000 for that initial $100,000 investment. Very nice. On top of all of these, for a total of $201,760 for a $100,000 investment. Not to mention all your depreciation. I mean, that's a home run any way you slice it or dice it, guys. It's a 2.0x, and this does not include the small true up that'll happen once we finish with all the accounts receivable, accounts payable. So, who would like to get a piece of that deal? Right? So congratulations. You have anything you want to say about that? So with that said, I would like to ask all of you who are in the deal to come up and get our picture with the check. So come on up. All right, 1, 2, say cash. All right, everybody, thank you, congratulations. Thank you very much. Everything we've been saying today, these checks, these proceeds, we can't do these deals without your participation, and so for that I thank you. Milton said he's done how many? 17. Tracy, 32. Alex, 11. I can keep going on and on and on. See, this stuff, this is what syndication is. Not going to throw stones at you guys that do single family. This is how you scale. If you own one rent house and it goes vacant on you, what's your occupancy rate or your vacancy rate? 100%. If you own 2, 3, you see? It's hard to scale with single family, real hard, and then management is tough, right? Here, somebody else handles it for you, right? You got on-site maintenance, on-site management, off-site supervision, in particular with a company like Darkor, you've got back office. So a vertically integrated company that handles everything, and all you do is collect the money, okay? So that to me is how you do real estate. Come on up.
So you how much?
More than 10.
More than 10 times. More than 10 times his investment. One of the things I loved, I remember seeing a post on Alex's Facebook regarding, the long time ago, regarding tires. Do you remember that post?
Yes.
And what did you say?
I said it was it was inconvenient to have to buy new tires, which on my truck is $1,500 back then. Now it's more like $2,000. But it was nice to not have to worry about buying new tires.
Yeah, just a simple thing as tires. And I loved seeing that. And were you accredited when you start?
No.
And are you accredited now?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one of the things I like seeing people starting off and then growing their money with that trust and everything else. What's the best return you had percentage-wise?
Park Row East.
You really think so?
Well,
Valencia.
yeah, Valencia Park.
Yeah, I know Valencia was your best deal. But yeah, so thank you. Like I said, I love seeing them. I love that he didn't have to worry about buying tires. And as simple as that sounds, as simple and as easy, and some people don't have any problem with any of that. But when you're starting off, those money troubles, they follow you, and they hurt you. But he had the gumption to invest and start investing early, and has become an accredited investor, 10x his money in investing with us. And it's stories like that I absolutely love. Like I can't remember, how long ago was the tire story?
2017.
2017? Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago in the overall scheme of things, but seeing that really touched my heart that we could help people create some financial independence.
How many of you have heard apartment riches and BS like that? You've heard it, right? I say that I say that only because, to me, what we do is not about riches, right? It's about changing your life. Alex, would you say it's changed your life?
Yes.
Anand, I'm going to pick on you. How many deals have you done with us? 8 or 10, all right. when you started with us,
Hello.
you weren't retired yet, were you? You were at,
Hold on.
was it UT Southwest?
At Arlington Memorial.
Oh, okay. And,
What did you do there?
I was a nurse.
okay. And how long after you started investing with us were you able to retire?
2014 when I started, when I met you, and Julian was my mentor at one of the investor club, and I retired in 2019. So less than
So
5
from
years.
2014 to 2019, you were able to retire. And since retirement, you don't need to quantify this, but would you agree that your net worth has grown exponentially?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know because he buys me lunches and dinners all the time. But this is what I'm talking about, that it's not about riches and, you know, Ferraris and private jets. It's about changing your life. It truly is. It changes a lot of people's lives. So,
I'm just going to add this real quick with Anand.
Yeah.
And why doesn't this seem to work? He actually wanted to know how the sausage was made. And so he co-sponsored with us, and we went arm in arm and walked through that. And that's when he quit his job, and he spent every day on a property learning every aspect of how the sausage was made. What kind of things did you learn through that process?
It's going to take a whole evening probably.
high level.
Everything from acquisition, submitting LOI, walking the property, identifying the issues early on, setting the underwriting. The true meaning of conservative underwriting, everybody's using it, but when it comes to the actual implementation, it's very difficult. No matter how much capex you assign to a property, at the end of the day, it's still a tug of war. Where would you spend it? Stabilize it, leasing it up. And this was an old property. It was 1963. So a lot of capex it needed, but we managed it. We focused only on the exterior part of it. It was all bills paid, all furnished, lots of pest control issues, but we made it through it. 2019 is the one we bought it in October, and we got out in 2022. So it was we went through the COVID, eviction moratorium, a lot of issues, but still made a 24% return year over year.
24% return year over year.
But year over year,
Year
total
over-
75%.
Yeah, so, well, thank you. I appreciate you
Yeah,
sharing
thank you.
with us. And for the sake of time, I won't ask the same of a lot more of you here because these stories are duplicated over and over again. All right, let me just talk about Vitae. Vitae, we closed on it not Friday past, but previous Friday, Good Friday. So while everybody was off, we were working, right? We did the takeover, we changed locks, we did all the stuff that we needed to do, and we took it over, and I strongly believe that this deal is going to be phenomenal. It's a gem in Denton. It is in my records on the property. It even under the stewardship of one of the worst sellers that I can remember, other than the guy in
There's only one worse.
Yeah, one worse, Pioneer Creek.
And worse management company.
Oh, right. So and part of it was that the management company was out of state, the owners were out of state. This is the only property the owners had in this state, and this was the only asset that that management company had for that owner. So it was the redheaded stepchild. I mean, they would put out their financials whenever they wanted to. It was just, but with that said, that property has, with the exception of 1 year, has always been at 97, 98% occupied. That's pretty stout. So, and when the year that it wasn't, it was at 93%. Oh, too bad. Terrible, terrible. So the reason I bring this up is with our management, local stewardship, there's no telling where this property is going to go. So 2016 construction, and we got it for $135 a door, well below replacement costs. We had an appraisal, stabilized appraisal for 2025 of $15.3 million, I think it is. Yeah, 15.3 million, and we paid 12,150,000 for it. I mean, we would have to really just not even show up for this deal not to make us a good amount of money. So for those of you who are fortunate enough to get into the deal, I congratulate you, and we just look forward to just doing great things at that property. Let's see, anything else you want to add before we cut these folks home? Let them go home? Feel free to stay, ask questions, but for the group, you're dismissed. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.